gentlemen, the following presentation is brought to you by Mr. Main Event Brian Waters and the real Dwayne Alley. The Wrestling Wrealm, the show for the intelligent wrestling fans. Off the top rope, I dwell in the wrestling realm. Like Jake stay in the snake pit and Kane be in hell. Like Taker stay in the graveyard and Punk in the shy. Call me Snooker cause I'm super and fly. You can hate all you want, but I'm flossing. The Miz said I'm awesome, and I'm upholding the law just like the big boss man. With Mr. Main Event Brian Waters, the real Dwayne Allen, toss you over the border like Hernandez, Mandez, pressing the stands. It's the show for the intelligent wrestling fans. Hitman like Hawk, but I'm not from Calgary. I'm all about the bill, so let that gold dust shower me, empower me like Farouk and the Nation. If you don't know your history, then you should change the station. But if you do, you can cruise to YouTube / the Wrestling Wrealm. Your lessons are stale. Say the same old lines, man, you destined to fail. Like the Shockmaster or the Wrestler Nails. I'm a heartbreak kid, and my bid to be champion is unmatched. Anybody step, I'm face planting them. With Mr. Main Event and the real Dwayne, you the sisters of love, we the powers of pain. You see we coming with a spear while you're monkey flipping. It's Brian Waters, Dwayne Allen, and your boy Trenton. And that's just how the story goes. That's just how the story goes. It's the Wrestling Wrealm, baby. The Wrestling Wrealm. Mr. Main Event Brian Waters, the real Dwayne Allen. And I'm your boy Trent CMG. You know what it is, baby. Let's go.
The Nation of Domination. New Nation, baby. Shouts out. Spot face. Okay, we'll get there later.
New Nation, no, I don't. Anyway, the Nation of Domination. What did you think?
You gonna pull out belts?
So is that what we doing now? You gonna pull the belts out during the middle of segments?
I mean, you said Nation of Domination, you know.
It's
The
funny.
Rock held this belt.
Really, it's funny about that. How you mentioned The Rock. The Nation of Domination. For all you guys who don't really know what the Nation of Domination really did and what it was about, it was a repackage, a repackaging opportunity for their leader, Farouk Assad. You know, for some people who pre Nation of Domination.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because he came out with this new gimmick that almost that sort of mimicked or what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of portrayed like a Nation of Islam type feel.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Where you had the brothers saying we've been held down. And the original Nation of Domination wasn't full of black guys per se. It came out originally. You had guys like PG-13, the guys who sang the actual theme or whatever. And you had a string of people. You had Crush. You had Clarence Mason. You had Savio Vega. Farouk and his newly adjusted character, not wearing that silly gladiator helmet he was wearing, running around with Sonny. He felt like he had been held down, by the WWF at the time, and felt like he was going to get a group of guys that were going to do the same thing, that felt the same way, and bring them up. If you watch the original Nation, they came out with a whole clique. It was a bunch of guys in trench coats and bow ties, and then rapping. And they do the signature fist joint, at the once they got in the ring or whatever. So something happened with this group, where I don't think it was getting the response that it needed to get at the time, and they decided to repackage everything. And Farouk came out and he cut a promo talking about why he fired Crush, he fired Savio Vega, and he's going to create a bigger and blacker nation, better than ever. So he gets with everybody except a young D'Lo Brown. So you don't remember D'Lo Brown's in the group, did you, back in those days?
I don't remember.
No, you didn't. You better recognize it.
Yeah, I mean, who took the stunner from Austin on top of the limo?
Yeah, that's rough.
When he had the fade.
That's real rough. So yeah, so you had
he went from carrying Mabel around.
Yeah, to wearing one of the little hats and the glasses and the bow ties, and he finally got a spot on the.
That's called paying your dues.
Absolutely, that's what happens with young superstars. So they decided to get Kama Mustafa, and at one point they added a new guy, a young and up and comer, hungry, ready to tell the crowd how he feels about them, in a Rocky Maivia.
That was a brilliant idea. When you think about how that propelled The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you said, he just wanted to go out there and speak what was on his mind.
Right.
That pushed him to a whole new level, and that made that group important, no matter what anybody looks at. That made the Nation of Domination, you know, and
Right.
especially when the turn came.
Mm-hmm.
When he just kicked Farouk to the curb, said, you know, not only is The Rock the leader of the Nation of Domination, but he's a ruler, you know.
Right.
And this is, we look at Farouk. I mean, The Rock was just too big for him, too big for the group. Coming out there, giving him pictures of himself.
Oh yeah.
You know, that talk about a sign of disrespect.
I mean, and that's the point I brought up, the Nation of Domination, after the Four Horsemen for that particular reason. Because this is a group of guys that were sort of thrown together, not because they're just for the sake of it, but they were thrown together, and they weren't meant to have the impact as a Four Horsemen. Because the Four Horsemen were the top guys of the company that came together, and they became this one dominant group. Whereas these other guys, who were virtually nobodies, a guy like Kama, who was back and forth about his gimmick, you know. After he's Papa Shango, he became Kama, but you didn't really understand where his character was going, which eventually morphed even further on to the Godfather. Yep. D'Lo Brown, a young guy, athletic, ex-football player, and you had Farouk, our former world champion, trying to find his niche in the WWF at the time, and you have the Rocky Maivia, a guy who's young, talented, same thing. These guys got in this group, and together they became a staple that one, it mimicked what was going on in real life, but it propelled someone like Rocky Maivia to the next level because he got an opportunity to really spread his wings. And I don't think they intended for this to happen, but The Rock began to get familiar with the way things worked and get comfortable on the mic and speak was on his heart. And like I said, he got way too big for the Nation.
Yeah.
He became out there, he would do arrogant things like hand out Rolexes to everybody else and then have the audacity to give him a picture of him holding the IC title.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious. The Nation of Domination eventually morphed into the Nation, adding guys like Mark Henry and Owen Hart with the same concept of, guys that felt like they've been held back and enough was enough, as Owen Hart likes to say, into the Nation where everybody, instead of being like one collective group reflecting something more of a Nation of Islam thing, to just a guys that felt like we weren't going to be held down. Mm-hmm. And you had guys who were able to evolve their characters. D'Lo Brown, he started winning the chest protector that really got him over after a while. He started doing the head thing. Everybody knows his walk and his whole demeanor,
to
how
this day.
he come out there, and then you had the Godfather start to come out. He wasn't as over the top as he would be later on down the line, but you saw him in his vest, in his hat, and you sort of got The Rock had taken over and just started to rise faster than anybody. I don't think even, maybe they expected him to, but not with the current way that he was as Rocky Maivia.
Right.
And you have Owen Hart, who who really was the co-leader of the Nation. Mm-hmm. That he decided I was tired of living in the shadows of my brother. It wasn't too long after, the whole Montreal screw job thing had taken off, and Owen Hart was sort of like, okay, what can we do now to make you different? And he had an opportunity to stand away from who he was always known as, Brett's little brother, or known for his feud as always feuding with Brett or trying to be better than Brett. He had a chance to stand on his own and do something. Mm-hmm. So here's a situation where you have a group like the Four Horsemen who were dominant and became a group because they were dominant, but then you have a group of guys like the Nation of Domination that weren't dominant individually, but came together and created a major force and a very reputable one. I must say it myself.
Definitely. I enjoyed watching them. When you look back, they were entertaining, and it was good. They had somebody like DX to go after because obviously they probably would have got lost in the shuffle. They could have, they were the dominant heels, but with McMahon, Austin going on at that time, you needed something to hold down that mid card. Right. Hence why you had the Rock vs. Triple H, your match before your main event at SummerSlam '98, or even before the main event at Fully Loaded '98, which featured Undertaker and Stone Cold versus Kane and Mankind. But you had those guys. They really, you talking about mid card specialists, and only a year later they was in the main event.
And see, that's the best part about the way the factions were built and what came from them, because we will always say in the world of professional wrestling, the best storylines are ones that are mimicked from real life situations, which is I think another story for a different day. But you look at the Nation, what was going on at the time, I guess around between late '96 to maybe early '99. So between that time period, where gangs had really been taken off.
Yeah.
You know, again, I mean, there's always been gangs, and there's always been, you know, gang violence and gang warfare, no pun intended. That's been going on throughout the country, but it got really heavy because, you know, between the music, the East Coast West Coast beef that was going on.
Yeah, how about that?
You saw a lot of things taking place, you know what I'm saying, in different communities, you know what I'm saying, not just black and white or just black and black, whatever you want to call it. But you look at the Nation. The Nation sparked two more groups that made a big deal. The original Nation, of course, when you talk about when you had Farouk and you had Savio Vega and you had Crush, when those guys were kicked out of the Nation of Domination, they both started their own factions.
Yeah.
Crush went on to go and with the twins, Ronnie and Donnie, I forgot their what you call it.
Blackjacks?
No. They created the DOA.
Oh yeah, them.
And then them and Chains and 8 Ball, and I forgot the other one. The other twin's name, I forgot his name just that fast. But he's been all over the place. And then you had Los Barricos. Sorry, I can't pronounce that because you can't roll the tongue like Spanish accent people. But you had two different groups, and those guys.
Cycles of Apocalypse.
Yeah, those guys. You know, that was the name of Crush's motorcycle gang in Hawaii, as a matter of fact. So you had DOA, you know what I mean, and they had that fact, and they were beefing with the Nation, you know. But then you had the Los Barricos, they were beefing with them. You know, you had three different guys that came from one faction and expanded into two, and it made those guys important. Did it make them world champions, or did it take off the way it did for The Rock when he took over the Nation? No, but like you said, it filled that mid card that you actually wanted to see it, because like I said, what was going on in society, that was relevant. I hate to say it, but it was almost cool to be in a gang from an outsider looking in, the way the media was projecting it for kids who were lost, so you felt like you didn't have no sense of identity. People were doing that. A lot of young people were doing that, unfortunately. But you got a chance to, figure you didn't have to do that anymore. You could live it out on TV.
Right.
With, you know, Los Barricos, and you had these constant battles between the two, even throwing in DX into the mix. And that just, like, I think that made all the other guys look bad, like Los Barricos and DOA look bad eventually, because then you had DX, who expanded from a smaller faction with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and China, into a large group with the New Age Outlaws, X-Pac, in China.
Event Brian Waters, the real Dwayne Allen, toss you over the border like Hernandez, Mendez, pressing the stands. It's the show for the intelligent wrestling fans. Hitman like Hawk, but I'm not from Calgary. I'm all about the bill, so let that gold dust shower me, empower me like Farouk and the Nation. If you don't know your history, then you should change the station. But if you do, you can cruise to YouTube / the Wrestling Wrealm. Your lessons are stale. Say the same old lines, man, you destined to fail. Like the Shockmaster or the Wrestler Nails. I'm a heartbreak kid, and my bid to be champion is unmatched. Anybody step, I'm face planting them. With Mr. Main Event and the real Dwayne. You the sisters of love, we the powers of pain. You see, we coming with a spear while you're monkey flipping. It's Brian Waters.